Hey everyone, and welcome to Meta Doctor. In this episode, we're going to be discussing how to balance the Queenbreaker. Now, if you played Gambit anytime within the past month or two, you'll know that this gun has overtaken Sleeper as many people's invasion weapon of choice. If you haven't played Gambit recently, then I wouldn't blame you for not realizing this gun even exists. You see, the Queenbreaker is sort of the definition of a one-trick pony. Its quick charge time, ease of use, and one-tap capabilities make it any invader's wet dream, while its relatively low damage for being a heavy weapon makes it pretty underwhelming in basically every other mode. It's usable in Crucible, but the maps don't boast as many long sight lines, so it's not as prevalent. Despite this, the gun is pretty fun to use regardless of what activity you're doing, so our goal is to maintain the weapon's uniqueness, bump its effectiveness in PvE, and reel in its necessity within Gambit. First, let's discuss why the Queenbreaker is so popular in Gambit. It really boils down to two main things: its high aim assist and range values. Just use this weapon once, and you'll realize that something's up with its hitbox. It's insanely forgiving when it comes to getting headshots. Just watch this clip.
Are you sure about that?
Its range also perfectly aligns with the size of Gambit maps. You can do basically everything except cross-map someone, and the fact that the combat sights provide essentially the same range as the long-range marksman sights but have a significantly faster charge time make them a no-brainer. In short, the gun feels like it was even more tailor-made for Gambit than Breakneck, and that's kinda dumb. Now in PvE, the gun isn't useless, but it's going up against the holy trinity of Whisper, Sleeper, and Thunderlord, so it's not much of a surprise to see it tossed into the never-used pile of exotics. It just doesn't deal enough single-target damage to warrant an exotic heavy slot. It's in a gray area where it feels overkill to use on enemies like knights, but it doesn't have the DPS to be used on bosses either. I see two ways that the Queenbreaker could be changed to make it more well-rounded. One solution could be to dial down the aim assist and range values on the combat sights. This way, the gun still feels the same, but it would require you to get a little closer if you want to make use of that faster charge time. Since purely nerfing the weapon is no bueno, I say Bungie could find a way to actually make use of the blinding effect the gun is supposed to have. Yes, if you never realized, the Queenbreaker's intrinsic perk says it, quote, blinds enemies on hit, but call me Danny DeVito if this has actually ever helped anyone. Instead of merely bumping up an enemy guardian's screen brightness by 5 or doing nothing to most PvE dudes, it could genuinely blind people and be a tractor cannon-like support exotic that keeps bosses and other beefy's enemies sunlocked. This addition would not only make the gun better, but even more fun to use and unique than it already is. The second solution is my personal favorite, however. I say Bungie returns the Queenbreaker to its original glory as a special weapon. Now before everyone collectively yells treason, this would obviously come with a healthy dose of nerfs. The OG Queenbreaker's bow didn't have nearly as much aim assist and was a pretty niche weapon in PvP due to the amount of time needed to get acclimated to the gun's unique firing style and odd projectile travel time. Its damage was also lower to be more in line with most of the sniper rifles, but the fact that it was a special weapon meant it could be used much more often and didn't require you to give up a heavy slot. Moving the Queenbreaker back to this special slot would solve its problem of being an underwhelming heavy weapon, and the respective nerfs would make it a more challenging, but still effective invasion weapon, until everyone just starts using Sleeper again. But I think if Bungie pulled this off right, the Queenbreaker could secure a place in the meta as a fun-to-use exotic with a steep but rewarding learning curve. But these are just my thoughts. I'd like to start a discussion as to how other people think this weapon could be balanced, so comment below if you have any other ideas. Thanks for watching.